What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And listen, let's get back into some more wrestling because we need to talk some more wrestling. And before I get into this video, you already know what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about NXT and my thoughts on NXT. First and foremost, I want to say that NXT is probably my favorite brand of WWE right now. I think that they're doing the best job when it comes to putting on a wrestling product. And that's just my thought, and I'll explain that later. But here is the problem with NXT. And it really stems from the news that we just got. There's a big announcement that they're going to be, putting out new titles for NXT. And it's it's been reported that these new titles are going to be a women's tag team championship titles for NXT. And I think that this is a bad thing. And it just shows kind of what is bad with NXT. Now, I thought this past Wednesday, on NXT, that really the WWE set up a perfect scenario for them to give NXT more credit and to give them more credibility, and they just fell flat on their face with this new announcement that they're going to be doing a NXT women's tag titles. Listen, I think that they should have tag titles on, the NXT for the women's division. The women's division showed that they have a lot of talent there, and through the Dusty Cup with that, it was really neat to watch and see a lot of these athletes and wrestlers that I've never really seen wrestle before, and see them put on show week in and week out as they progressed through the tournament. I thought it was great. It is cool that they're going to be getting their own tag titles, but again, it creates that divide there where the NXT is still the minor leagues, and NXT will always have a ceiling. And if you've watched my videos before, whenever you label something minor league, they have a ceiling that they cannot exceed and that will always be there for them. And unfortunately, right now, NXT is that. And the only way you can break through that ceiling is if somebody legitimizes you or you beat the pro, the top level, the major competition. And since WWE owns both, they could easily do that. So let's set the scenario. What was the perfect scenario? Well, what happened on Wednesday night is pretty much the winners of the Dusty Cup. So Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, they won the Dusty Cup, so they got a shot at the women's tag team champion. And so Nia Jax fought, and Shayna Baszler fought them, and it was a decent match. And there was a lot of ups and downs with it. But what happened is, so, the ref gets knocked out, and then they bring in a ref from Raw, and Adam Pearce pretty much screwed him over because the one that tapped out was not the one who was legally in, and so they retained the tag titles, which they shouldn't have. But the whole idea was Adam Pearce wanted to keep the women's tag titles on the main promotion. And so they showed in the show William Regal and Adam Pearce kind of going at it with each other, and then William Regal said that there's going to be a major announcement next week, and we were thinking that maybe the major announcement is going to be that NXT is going to be moving to Tuesday nights, and so our Wednesday night war is essentially over. But now it's looking like that announcement is actually going to be, so his big announcement is going to be that they're going to be doing the women's division tag titles for NXT. They really missed an opportunity here, because what they could have done is they could have put the belts on Gonzalez and Kai, and that would have really solidified the women's division there. It would have put the rest of the roster on notice. And it would have gave a lot of credence to the NXT brand that they haven't been getting. Now, I know what you're going to say. Listen, there's a lot of business and a lot of politics behind things. The major two brands, Raw and SmackDown, Fox wants the premier people, and so does USA, want it on Raw Monday night, prime time Monday night, Friday night, prime time. That's what they want. They want that. But I can tell you that having NXT up there is only going to up the ante with things and do that. And so not having them, not having that there is just going to continue to put NXT at that lower level. And it seems like WWE's fine with that. For me, I'm, like I said, I like NXT. I like what NXT does. I do not like what happens on the main roster. Do I think they're good wrestlers? Do I think they put out good wrestling matches when they're allowed to actually wrestle on the main card? Yes. But the problem for me, like always, is NXT is always played off and put off as minor league. And so it's kind of, and that's the place where it sits, and that's the place where it holds. And if you like that, and if you're okay with that, that's fine. For me, I don't like that label. I don't like to look at it that way. I don't like to look at it that way because, again, you have a ceiling. You can't break through that ceiling. The only way you can do that is if you either beat those who are on top of you, who are above that ceiling, or somebody above the ceiling reaches down and yes, I can't talk, and brings you up and, makes you legit and sees you as not minor anymore. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity for the WWE to take NXT to the next level. I remember when they had that kind of, when COVID was just breaking out and WWE was having struggle trying to get talent and stuff, but since they already had talent there for NXT and they did kind of this NXT takeover thing, this NXT takeover angle. I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome to see that. And I think if they could do some more of that, they could really build up the brand. But when you have it as minor league, and again, I get that. I get the whole fact that the people who are in NXT aren't making the money, don't have the big contracts as the people on Raw and on SmackDown, and they're not the the big ones out there. But if you do a little bit to push them up, I think it'll build everything up. And again, I'm not necessarily, I'm going to come out and say it. I'm not one that completely dislikes the WWE, but the storylines on the main roster, I don't get them. I don't follow them. The week in and week out stuff, the way that they book things, they promote things, I'm not a huge fan of. And the NXT booking, the way that they do it, I find it a lot more legitimate. I like the way that it's done, and I get it. The WWE model, a lot of the NXTers don't fit. They're smaller in stature. They're not the big, 6'5", 260, 280 pound, behemoths. That's not what most of them are. Most of them are really, really good technical wrestlers. And actually they cut fairly decent promos, and you can definitely tell that those who are on the main roster definitely get held back by the writing. There's just something, it's just, and you can tell those that have freedom and those that don't. When it comes to, the storylines, cutting promos and things like that, it's just way different. And NXT does, by far, if you have not watched NXT, you have an opportunity to watch NXT. I think you need to. It's really, really good stuff. If you only have one to watch AEW and record NXT. But definitely go back and watch NXT. It's worth your while. It's fantastic technical wrestling. If you love watching wrestling, It's fantastic. They've got great storylines. They've got intriguing things that are happening. They're not just one-off week things, or, you have a triple, you have a handicap match, and then, I don't know, it turns into a tag match because somebody comes out, or, they've got a tag match, then somebody gets hurt, and now it's all of that stuff that WWE does on Raw and SmackDown all of the time, with that. I don't like it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But this, I think it's a good thing for the wrestlers is, they get another title to have and that with it. But I think it just further, cements the NXT of where they are. And like I said, I think NXT has done a fantastic job of putting together a really, really good product. The only thing is that they're looked at as the minor league, and that's where they are. Now, what I would do, and if I were WWE, is another story. I would shake some things up. I would rename NXT to a different thing, give it a whole new branding, maybe keep the yellow, but change the name up, give a new name to it. I would have, change up with some stars. I'd have, somebody go from NXT go and, bring another title to NXT, maybe the Intercontinental Championship, the USA Championship, and bring it to the promotion, put the NXT champ on one of the larger promotions, on Raw, on SmackDown, and and bring the Universal title. I think the Universal title would be all right if you brought that down to NXT. I don't think that that they would definitely do that, but kind of get this kind of this thing where it isn't a demotion going to NXT, because if you ask me, that's really where their overall best product is right now. That's just my thoughts. I was kind of really intrigued on where they were going with this women's tag titles thing. I still am kind of interested in it, but after hearing this, it kind of takes that kind of excitement about it away from me, because I thought that maybe they, like I said, the women's division in NXT might actually, get kind of a boost with getting the tag titles, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And they're, it's going to be further separation there, and this just adds to the layers of separation between it and the quote unquote main roster, and that's just it. I think that's a loss if you ask me. So pretty much, guys, those are my thoughts. As always, the question is, what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Love to hear your thoughts on where you think, NXT sits in the scheme of things. Your thoughts on the NXT, if you think it's minor league, if you don't think it's minor league, if you think it's the best product, if you don't think it's the best product. Listen, it's just my opinion, and the beauty of it is their opinions. This is not set in stone, so we can have conversations about it. And I love talking with you guys in the comment section. Keep the comments coming. Keep them rolling. Again, I love to hear who you think this mystery person is who's signing with AEW. It's been fantastic. It's been fun trying to figure out who it is, and I hope it remains a secret until the person comes through the tunnel on Sunday evening. All right, guys. Whew, that was a lot, covered a lot, and thank you for watching and staying with me. All right, let's get on out of here because I know that you're busy. I know that I'm busy. Have a good night. Bye.